Hello, YouTube. It is J-Man here, and we are talking about the Steven Universe movie. It's been a while since I've last been on YouTube. Honestly, I said I would make a review like almost 10 months ago, back in October, right before I left for AmeriCorps. And you know what? That's a whole thing. Let's just get right into the topic. I loved this movie. It was like the first decent piece of Steven Universe lore we've gotten since like season 3, season 4, and honestly, it was amazing in a lot of ways. The animation, the story, which wasn't as strong as it could have been, but like the animation, the music, the effort that you could tell Rebecca Sugar and the Crewniverse put into this film just blew me away. I rewatched it like at least 5 to 9 times, and then I watched it 4 more times with some of my friends back in AmeriCorps. They're all huge Steven Universe fans. Anyway, like, let's talk about the music first. My favorite song is Other Friends, and like the reason I didn't like it at first. When I first heard it, I just saw it as like this catchy sort of 1920s-ish vibe song, and it was like whatever. But then eventually, like the second time, third time, I just started hearing it over and over and over and over again. It just got so catchy to the point where I was listening to it every single morning before when I woke up, and I loved it. I loved how Spinell just casually one shots all of the crystal gems. Garnet, and granted, she was cheating because of her gem weapon, but like she still she still poofed all three of them simultaneously. And even Amethyst, you know how she's like, I'm out of shape, or I forgot exactly her lines, but more so or less she was saying that she hasn't done it in a while. I'm like, have you not seen Spinell, fam? She hasn't been doing anything for like thousands of years, like, and that's what makes her so powerful because she was made God, like, it was just fantastic. Honestly, I forgot what I was trying to say, but anyway, my favorite song would have to be like um Somewhere, Someone, when Steven made friends with Spinell again, and they started talking, and he was just trying to show Spinell a better way, and he even apologized for his mom did to her, and just the sheer amount of suffering you could tell in like Spinell's face, combined with Steven, who's not even surprised by his mom's actions anymore. That's an entirely different topic on the subject of the morality of Rose Quartz, Pink Diamond, because I have totally different opinions. Anyway, Other Friends and Somewhere Someone were amazing songs. Although the Pearl song was not my favorite of the film, it was very catchy. In addition to like Estelle's song with Garnet, I didn't like it that much. Honestly, I didn't really feel that much of an attachment to it, and she barely got any lines in the movie, which really kind of sucked because they were pushing her song as like the main theme for the Steven Universe film. So that was unfortunate. But the very end song, I can make a promise, like with Steven when he's finally sticking up to Spinell, and he's like showing her that he's not scared anymore and that he can change and get better. I just loved the power at which he was able to finally make a name for himself to Spinell. It blew the film away, and the animation in the scene where he came up to the moon was just phenomenal. Like, you can't recreate the feeling that you get when you're watching that for the first time, and he's fighting Spinell, and he even does like his boxing gloves when he's punching at her, and they're just going at it, and then she basically like a gear third Luffy, and she just smashes him to the floor. God, Spinell's powers also as a character. Um, I love how like different she is. I love how she's not a normal gem, and the Crewniverse made her to be so different because they were trying to kind of call back to the rubber hose animation. I loved it. To be completely honest with you, like I don't think I don't I can't we haven't gotten a decent villain. Granted, she became redeemed by the end of the film. We haven't gotten a decent villain of this magnitude with this powerful of an appearance since like Yellow Diamond in that episode with a Peridot. I haven't felt like this deep of a Steven Universe fan since that, and I'm recording this months after like even Steven Universe Future came out. So um, and even with Future, there hasn't been a single villain to match either Yellow Diamond or Spinell's power, and White Diamond to a degree, but she was redeemed pretty quickly. Um, Now, the next point I'm going to talk about outside of music and animation is Spinell as a character in all aspects. Like, I basically fell in love with Spinell with this film. It was about her, and it's different because, and I was going to touch on this a little later. They could have went a lot of different routes with the Steven Universe movie. They could have they could have made it like a prequel, and they could have shown like the Gem War, Rose Quartz's journey with Greg. They could have shown Rose Quartz's her rebellion more in detail, other gems, background characters. There was, or even like touching on Lars's backstory and when he was in space. There was a lot of unparalleled and untouched, lore they could have dealt with. But no, they took that effort to make an entirely new character, make us super attached to her, and because of that, we got an entirely new film with a new character with an entirely new set of emotions and pain. And Spinell's pain and Spinell's emotions hurt her so much to the point for the first time in an entire show, we saw a character basically react to not physical damage but emotional damage. We saw a character who was hurt so bad on an emotional, psychological level, despite being physically not harmed, and even more than not harmed, she's like a perfect cut. So she has even more fortification and defense in her gem of being hurt physically than other gems. She was hurt on such an emotional level that she poofed essentially, and she reformed. Like we've never seen that before. Um, with the only outlier being volleyball from Steven Universe Future, but we're talking about before that. Like when Spinell shattered, not shattered, when Spinell poofed, and she didn't really poof, but she reformed into that, and you're just seeing the scene when she transforms, and like she has the lines down her face to remember that she's in tears constantly from what Rose did to her. Is just mind-boggling. Like I felt the pain of the character. You really could feel what she was going through. That she was created for this sole purpose of being Rose Quartz's play toy or friend or whatever, and it's like she wasn't even good enough to do that, and that's why she felt like such a failure to Rose. Not only did Rose abandon her for the one purpose that she was created for, but like she didn't come back. She didn't even mention Spinell to any of the other ones. The only one who knew was Pearl, and Pearl could care less. Pearl's will, at least at the time, was Rose's will. So as far as Rose was concerned, and Pearl was concerned, Spinell's irrelevant. And I guess she was. And I'm not going to touch on the morality of Rose leaving her behind, because there's like a couple fan theories and fan videos explaining the thought process behind it. Because I do think if Spinell was there, she would have been a great asset to the gems. But at the same time, um, to these gems, it's like emotions aren't supposed to be a normal thing, and all of the diamonds are different in that aspect because Pink is a very childlike diamond. So Pink Diamond was created to be her friend and the plaything, and that's not something any of the other diamonds even have. So, like, what I'm trying to say is that Pink ditched her and hurt her when in a time in her life when she was probably trying to become more serious, and she was trying to, based on flashbacks and evidence we've seen, Pink Diamond's focus was trying to step away from being childlike. So there are a lot of theories around the fact that she left her there so she could continue on as a gem and continue her cause. And we're not sure if she did want to go back for Spinell. Maybe it hurt her too much because it reminded her of a past life. Maybe if she did go back, she would have got captured or killed after the rebellion. Because as far as she was concerned, Pink Diamond was dead, and Rose Quartz was alive. So if Rose Quartz went back to pick her up, it would have looked terrible. They would have known only Pink Diamond can know where this is, and that wouldn't add up. So after Pink Diamond killed herself, or faked her shattering, she couldn't go back for her. At least from one perspective. Um, and honestly, I don't think she wanted to. Rose Quartz gave off many different vibes. At least when she was even talking to Greg, that she was done with her previous life, and she was cutting all attachments to it. And while yeah, that's bad in terms of like Spinell, and because she did straight up just basically ghosted her playing a game, waiting for her forever. That's horrible. But it's like, what other option did she have at that point? Um, that was the main driving part of the movie, and I feel it resonated with a lot of other fans because it's like, how many times have you been ditched? How many times have you been left alone? How many times have your friends grown out of you, or just discarded you like an object. And I think it's powerful because it really shows us like a human aspect of life and how people just move on, and it can leave us entirely alone and without anyone close to us in our lives. But at the end of the day, we have to treasure the memories we did have with them, even if it ended terrible. We have to be grateful that we had such an amazing opportunity, and not be grateful for how it ended. I'm sure Spinell hates that Rose abandoned her and everything, and she hates her that she left her for her only purpose. But she also was such a joyful character, knowing that she had this happiness, and at least that's what I got out of it from Spinell. To be completely honest with you, I think that's why she's such a powerful villain in this franchise, because she's not just physically strong, but she brings a lot of more emotional depth than all the other diamonds combined, maybe except for Blue, to this film. Um, the third point I wanted to bring across was Steven's character development. Like, he is stronger. He is more confident in himself. He is like more set on peace. So much so to the point that he will not let anything interrupt this happily ever after throughout the whole film. Granted, the Earth is with threat of being destroyed, so he's a lot more pressured. He is dead set on just seeing the problem, dealing with the problem, seeing the problem, dealing with the problem. You know, he'll take whatever route it takes just to get the Earth safe again, because he's not. Before he was just defending Earth. Now that he's actually accomplished peace, he's trying to keep it that way. He knows that it doesn't have to be constant war or worrying if some other gem threat is going to come back. So it's been a good amount of time since that's happened, and he's more like anxious, which kind of shows in Steven Universe future. Actually, he's more anxious about this peace being disrupted. So you can tell that his maturity has happened because he's so serious and dead set on protecting his friends and loved ones. Honestly, I didn't like the plot of the film. I thought it was weak. I thought they were just like rehashing old material. We already know all the backstories. Yeah, it was cool seeing Amethyst like when she just popped out of the ground, but like we didn't need that. There are so many different things that could have made this movie about, and there are so many other different ways it could have ended that would have been more giving back to the fan base, like truly exploring the plot. And I went into this earlier about the lore. Like, I saw this ending on this fan comic on Steven Universe when Steven's gem was cut with the rejuvenator. Instead of Steven, Pink Diamond came out, and Pink Diamond like actually jumped on Spinell, and Spinell is just crying because Pink Diamond's saying, "Yes, what I did to you is wrong, but my mistakes are not this Earth's problems. If you have a problem, you can't just take it out on innocent people." And it's like she's explaining herself, and it gives justification. And not only did Pink Diamond see that, but after Spinell cut him because he was half human, um, while it didn't reset him, it did cut his physical body, and he was bleeding, and he was afraid to die. And after Pink Diamond is done like shouting at Spinell about, "I can't deal. You're not. My problems are not this Earth's problem. Stop hurting innocent people. Why are you here, Spinell? I couldn't come back for you. You embarrassed me in front of the diamonds. You just kept destroying things. Um, Pink Diamond could tell that having someone around you who was not a real friend and who was just made to be your friend because she was built that way isn't a real friend. She, at least in this comic, she didn't see it that way, so that's why she just couldn't be around that. It felt fake. It felt created. Organic, not or non-organic. And because of that, she couldn't be with Spinell anymore as a buddy. And in the comic, she sees Steven bleeding out, and she holds him, and she reforms into Rose Quartz. And then she notices that that's her son, and Steven sees Rose Quartz for the first time in this comic, and she says she loves him, and then she fuses with him, and she heals him in that fusion, and it's amazing. Like, why couldn't we have gotten that? We didn't need a rehashed plot of all of the different gems as backstories, and we really didn't. I saw another comic that kind of showed like when Spinella was worried that Steven, after she got the device to stop killing the Earth, she basically said, "Steven, what are you doing?" And the rejuvenator that Steven had, it kind of pulls on the theory that what if the rejuvenator, Steven had it because he really was going to cut Spinell? What if after she fixed it, he was so hell bent on not letting his peace be disrupted, he'd reset her again so she would lose her memory because it would be better that way for her and for everyone around her. And in this comic, he actually does not get his powers back because Spinel never forced him to change when she held him off the balcony. It's there are so many different other routes they could have gone with this film, you know, but unfortunately, they didn't set the film up well because of how Change Your Mind and the original Steven Universe series had ended. So they pretty much had no other choice to either explore backstory, which we didn't need because all the problems were resolved, or create an entirely new character. They wrote themselves into a wall. You know, had they been smart, they would have set it up with redeeming Blue and Yellow, at least in the series, and then with the movie, it would be everyone versus the huge threat of White Diamond. Like that just seems so much better. You know, a movie to end the series versus cramming everything into like 2 episodes. Like, I like the Change Your Mind ending, but I just didn't love it. You know, I love Steven Universe, and those first 3 seasons, even a little of the fourth, are good, but they dropped the ball so much on so many episodes that it just took away from the series as a whole. Like, um, I also thought it was weird that Bismuth was reformed. Her outfit was different. In addition to that, I'm trying to think what else happened. Oh yeah. Um, as a whole, there were a lot of like I don't want to say inconsistencies, but like Steven Universe, his character, it kind of like when he fused with Greg, that was cool to see. But there was a lot of controversy surrounding the scene because of the similarities between fusion and like intimacy. So that was kind of weird, but I guess we could take it off as familial love. But it was just weird because he's like thrusting and mesmerizing Pearl, and I'm like, that's Steven and his father, man. And he just like puts his finger under her chin, and she just comes back to normal because she's so like excited by him, and that was weird. Um, I loved Amethyst and how like confident in herself she is. I liked Pearl and Pearl's song at the beginning when she was singing about it and how much he's changed, and I loved that as well. And wow, it was a good film. It was a great musical, and I loved it. I love Rebecca Sugar, and I thank the Crewniverse for everything they've done for their hard work. They'll probably never see this, you know, but at the same time, I want to just let them know in Cartoon Network because as of now, as of this recording, Steven Universe Future has ended, so it's done. The series is 100% done, and um, thank you for the last 5 years of amazing content. I became a fan of the show in 2015 after the Garnet episode when she realized we found out she was a fusion, and I've been watching it for 5 years now, and I'm just so grateful to have been a part of this experience and to be part of the Steven Universe fan base. You know, as toxic as it can be sometimes. Thank you, Rebecca Sugar, and thank you, Cartoon Network.